Shane Van Gisbergen completes his first trip at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and finishes a very impressive 4th place. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to the video. As I just said a second ago, Shane Van Gisbergen has completed his first ever trip to Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and finishes in a very impressive 4th position. Had today probably the best oval race he's ever had in his NASCAR career up to this point. At the start of the race, Shane Van Gisbergen qualified in 23rd and was already making moves going into turn number 1. Going to turn number 3, the big one was strike. Sam Mayer, Josh Berry, Sammy Smith, Ryan Sieg, and multiple other cars in that back, including A.J. Allmendinger, were caught up in the incident. He actually got a little bit of contact on the right rear of the car. For some reason, NASCAR never listed that he was involved in the crash in the incident. It looked like he had a little bit of contact, but it never really affected him, and he was able to move up inside the top 15. And pretty much for the remainder of stage number 1, Shane Van Gisbergen was able to maintain a top 15 run and started moving forward up into around 10th or 11th position. Coming out the final corner in stage number 1, Shane would come off the corner around 12th or 11th and stayed in the top 15. Then coming down pit road, he actually decided to leave to come down pit road during that time and stayed up near the front of the field and actually gained a couple positions, I believe, and was up around the top 15. On the restart, he started making a couple passes. He didn't really gain a lot at the beginning of stage number 2, but he started moving forward. And then there was a caution that came out, I think on lap 40 or something like that, around lap 50, and he actually decided to come down pit road along with drivers like, I think, Austin Hill, I think the leaders of Cole Custer, Riley Hurts, Ramon, the guys decided to come down pit road during stage 1, actually moved up around there and started continuing to move forward throughout the field. But he actually came down pit road during stage 1. But it benefited him because he started moving forward and got around the top 10 near the end of stage 2. He was passing multiple drivers, got one guy, then he passed another guy, and he started moving forward up into the halfway point. By the halfway point of this race, he was around the top 10. And then we get to lap 55. There's a caution that comes out for Brennan Poole. Looked like he might have had an engine failure at this point, but he basically had a steering pump failure, but it really didn't affect SVG because he continued to move forward. And then we had the caution. I think he decided to come down pit road with the rest of the main contenders, and he actually restarted around 11th or 12th position on the restart. But then he started moving forward once again on the restart on the one-lap dash and actually got himself up inside the top 10 and would finish stage number 2 in 7th position, scoring stage points, which has been a very big rarity in the Xfinity Series this year for him. He got stage points at the end of stage number 2. Then during his caution, he actually stayed out and basically moved up inside the top 6 and would restart in 6th position at the beginning of stage number 3. He would lose a position or two on the restart, lose it to Eric Almirola and Austin. Actually, Eric Almirola was the race leader at the time. He actually lost a ton of ground. But we would see SVG make a bonsai 3-wide move going into turn number 1 and pass 2 for 1 and moved up to 5th position. Just as that move happened, another caution would come out for Eric Almirola, who spun out after contact with Austin Hill, which SVG was right in front of, and SVG maintained a 5th position. A couple laps would tick by under caution, and we got back racing with about 30 laps to go. And Shane would maintain 5th position. Drivers like Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed and Connor Daly were doing everything desperately to try to make a move on Shane, but Shane did everything he could and moved up and stayed in 5th position. And then the final caution race would come out with around 15 laps to go when there was a big incident between Parker Retzlaff. Of course, Anthony Fredo got on the outside wall. SVG's teammate Daniel Dye kind of started that incident. We saw Anthony get in the outside wall. He came back across the racetrack, and Parker Retzlaff and Josh Williams, who was also on their team at SVG's, by the way, he had nowhere to go, and that was a big incident. During this caution, a majority of the race leaders all decided to come down pit road and get tires, including Shane. Now, Shane was basically restarting around 13th position on the final restart of the race, but he had 4 fresh tires, along with Justin Allgaier and Sheldon Creed. And tires did mean a little bit, not as much as other racetracks, but tires did mean quite a bit in this race. And Shane started making passes. He got up to 8th. He got up to 7th and started moving his way up to the front and eventually moved up inside the top 5. Now, Sheldon Creed was desperately doing everything he could to try to get around Shane, but didn't have anything for him. And eventually, with about 5 or 6 laps to go, he actually caught A.J. Allmendinger and was making a run at him to go to 4th and eventually passed A.J. Allmendinger with about 5 laps to go to move into 4th position. And Sheldon Creed stayed right behind him and was looking at every potential possibility to get around Shane. And Shane, unfortunately, didn't have anything for Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, and Eric Almirola, who put on an incredible and fantastic finish near the end of this race. It's probably the best part of the Xfinity Series race today. But the other best part is how well Shane ran. And Shane would finally come out the final corner and pick up probably his best overall finish on an oval outside of Atlanta. He comes out the corner and finishes in 4th. An absolutely impressive performance by Shane Van Gisbergen today. I would think this is the best overrun he has had this season so far. We go back to that Phoenix race where he finished in 6th, but that was based off of strategy. This race, he straight up ran in the top 10 the whole entire day. And Indianapolis is kind of a different track, but generally drivers that are good on road courses, they tend to run really good at this track. And that's no exception for Shane. He was very impressive. He qualified 23rd in just every single oval race he drives in the series, he gets better. You go back to last week at Pocono. He had a top 10 car and was going to get a top 10, and unfortunately got taken out by Sam Mayer and then got taken out by somebody else. But today, he had no one that really tried to wreck him, no one that made any mistakes around him, and he put together a very excellent and great performance. And to finish in the top 5 at Indianapolis, it's absolutely huge. It's a shame that there's a couple weeks off for the NASCAR Xfinity Series because they're not going to be racing until Michigan, which I think Shane could honestly be a factor there as well with how good they've been on the bigger ovals this year. But Shane continues to get better. This 9017's been getting a lot better. The pace and speed's been getting there. And the more experience Shane gets behind the wheel, I think the better he's going to end up being. But ended up finishing in 4th. That is honestly unbelievable and incredible. I think that's his 5th or 6th top 5 of the year as well. And he's been just so impressive at times this year. And he just today put together his best overrun he's ever had up to this point. So just an incredible day for Shane. He put together a great run. And you think about his future. We always talk about this when we do these SVG videos. But there's a lot of talk and conversation right now that Shane Van Gisbergen more than likely is going to be in the Cup Series driving the 3rd Trackhouse car next year because they're going to be getting one of the Stewart-Haas racing charters. And I think, honestly, look how well Shane Van Gisbergen has done this year and how much better he gets on these ovals. It's just honestly incredible. And he's only had 4 or 5 finishes outside the top 20. He's been super consistent, and he's starting to consistently get a lot better. If he's going to want to run for this championship, he has to continue getting better on these ovals. And runs like this today are honestly incredible. To finish in the top 5, very impressive the speed that he showed today. He did an excellent job, and I think about next year with how well I think he could run. He's getting better. He's getting more focused. He's going to have a chance to finish in the top 10 in the standings, and I wouldn't be surprised or shocked if he continues to get better on these ovals. He might win a race at an oval by the end of the year because the Call cars, they haven't had the overall pace and speed so far this year, but today they had some pretty good pace, and SVG comes home with a very solid top 5 finishes. Overall, an amazing day for Shane Van Gisbergen. He did an incredible job today. Was an excellent run. And I was super impressed with the speed that Shane Van Gisbergen showed today here at Indianapolis. And I can't wait for the rest of the season for him. He's got Watkins Glen later in the year, which I think is going to be really fun and exciting. And I think Shane today put up an incredible and excellent performance. So congratulations to him on a very great and excellent run at Indianapolis Motor Speedway today. So, that is going to be it for the special broadcast on Shane Van Gisbergen. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. And comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your thoughts about Shane Van Gisbergen's performance in Indianapolis? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have reactions to the Brickyard 400. We'll also have the starting lineup for the Brickyard 400. Talk about drivers like Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, and Kyle Busch as well. Then on Monday, we're going to have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple of days. We got some Haley Deegan rumors circulating, and we're going to talk about Kyle Busch and Corey LaJoie's comments in the media this week. And we've got a lot of other content dropping, and on Tuesday, more than likely, you'll see a NASCAR silly season update dropping on the channel. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.